Tonight against the Cleveland Browns, we saw Denver Broncos pass rusher Von Miller go down with a very bad looking lower leg injury. And this was a concerning one right from the start because when it first happened, he was in an obvious amount of pain and we saw that he was really visibly limping when walking off of the field. Miller would ultimately be ruled out for the remainder of the game, and sources are reporting right now that he is in fact dealing with an ankle injury and they are expecting the results of an evaluation. Now, on the actual play that Miller was injured on, we saw that it looked like one of his teammates accidentally fell into that leg and really placed that foot in a very awkward position. And since some people may not be too familiar with the anatomy of the ankle and the grading system for ankle injuries, I'm gonna go ahead and focus on that with this video. Welcome, football fans. For those of you who aren't familiar with me, my name is Nick Gallo and I'm a doctor of physical therapy. With my channel, I take a look at sports injuries and I try to explain them so that they are a little bit easier to understand. Then I go over the anatomy of the affected areas, and finally I'll go over what a person should expect when they go into rehab for that particular injury. If you like this content, please subscribe to the channel and give me a thumbs up because I will be making more content in the future. Now we can see on the play here that as Miller is in the backfield and he's pass rushing, he's going to make contact with his teammate right here, and that's really going to put that left leg at a very awkward and twisted looking position. Now here's a model of the foot and ankle, and so on here you can see that the two bones in the lower leg, the first one being the fibula, is going to come on down and it's going to form this bone known as the lateral malleolus, which is the outside of the ankle. And we have this other bone known as the tibia, which we often associate with as the shin. That's going to come down and that will form this bony knot that we feel on the inside of our ankle, and that's known as the medial malleolus. Now there are four main motions at the ankle. The first one, when a person will be bending their toes back towards them, that's known as dorsiflexion. When they are going to be pointing the toes forward, this is known as plantar flexion. And as we take a look at the model here, when the foot goes in like this in that classic ankle sprain position, this is known as inversion. And finally, the opposite of that is known as eversion. Now, as we take a closer look at the actual injury, it looks like Von Miller's ankle is actually in eversion, and there is a little bit of a rotational component to it because it's planted into the turf. Now, when this happens to someone's ankle, this is going to put at risk two major ligaments that are actually located a little bit higher than the ankle. The first one is the anterior inferior tibiofibular ligament, and that's going to be right in through here. And then as we go onto the back of the model, there's another ligament, and this is known as the posterior inferior tibiofibular ligament. Both of these are known as tibiofibular ligaments because they are going to be essentially attaching the tibia and the fibula together, and they're going to resist these rotational movements at the person's foot and ankle. So when a person goes into an everted and rotated position like this, you can see on the model that this is actually going to try and separate the two bones here, the tibia and the fibula. So oftentimes when someone gets caught in this position, those ligaments are affected and it's going to result in something that we know as a high ankle sprain. This is called a high ankle sprain because, as we see here, the ankle joint is actually right in through here and a little bit lower. So these ligaments are located a little bit elevated from that, thus giving it the name a high ankle sprain. Now, one other thing to say that when Miller's foot is in this position, this is actually also straining a lot of the medial structures that are located on the ankle as well. And there's a major ligament that goes in through here that contributes to ankle stability, and that is known as the deltoid ligament. So as you can see here, that when we go into eversion, this is going to separate right in through that area, which would affect that deltoid ligament. The classic position we see and we associate with an ankle sprain is this. This is known as an inversion ankle sprain. In Von Miller's case, if he is in fact dealing with a sprain of that deltoid ligament, this would be known as an eversion ankle sprain as well. In this position, he is also, of course, at risk for fractures. Now, when somebody goes into this eversion position and it is excessive enough, this can put them at risk for malleolar fractures, whether it be the lateral or the medial malleolus, and it can also put them at risk for a talus fracture. So it's going to be really important that Miller just has those x-rays to rule out that bony involvement. before we can design a treatment program for him moving forward. Now here I have a model of the knee, and the reason why I have this is because as we go back and we look at the video again, it doesn't look like to me that just the ankle could be involved here. Now, sources are not saying that the knee is involved, but as we watch the video, when his teammate actually comes in and makes contact, he's putting something known as a valgus force going through the knee. Now, when he does this, let's take a look and see exactly how the knee goes. This force is going to come in and make the knee bend like this. And you can see that as I do this, this is placing a lot of force through specifically the MCL in the knee. This can also affect a structure known as the medial meniscus, and if the force is great enough, it can also affect the ACL. Now, at this time, I'm not saying that he has an ACL tear or that there is a knee involvement. I'm just saying, based on what I'm seeing on the video, that is also a possibility. As of right now, I know everybody is wondering regarding the severity of that ankle and potential knee injury. Of course, the gold standard for this is going to be the MRI, so we can properly visualize the affected ligaments and make a determination on what is involved and how severe it is. Right now, I think best case scenario for Von Miller is that it is a low grade ankle sprain. The grading system for ankle injuries are grades 1, 2, and 3. In the grade 1, this is where we have a stretching of the affected ligament. In a grade 2, this is where we have stretching and partial tearing. And finally, in a grade 3, this is where we have a complete rupture. So I think as of right now, the best case scenario obviously would be that grade 1, meaning that he would miss a few weeks. But worst case scenario would be that there is ankle involvement and knee involvement. So it's going to be really important that we just essentially wait and for that official word regarding his MRI results. I have a feeling I'll have that fairly quickly. And once we know that, then we can make a determination on his proper timeline to return to the field. If I happen to hear any updates, I'll be sure to update everybody in that comment section. And if you happen to hear anything, please feel free to update everybody as well. And that's it as of right now regarding all we know about Von Miller's most recent left lower leg injury. I really wish Von Miller the best moving forward because I know last year he missed significant time with an ankle injury, and I always hate to see that. So wish him the best of luck moving forward. And once again, thank you very much for watching today's video. I really appreciate it. If you like today's content, please feel free to subscribe to the channel. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.